WandaVision. Yeah, this is obviously came out a while ago, early 2021 in January. I did watch it as it came out, but I'm just doing a review on it now. As I'm trying to get more into the Marvel stuff with kind of Shang-Chi coming out, and then you have Eternals, which I'm really looking forward to. That Eternals looks like it's going to be sick, so I'm trying to start doing this kind of just this. We've been doing the Loki reviews and everything, but I'm going to start doing like the movie reviews, and I'm going to try to go in order. So I'm going to have to sit through all the good and the bad movies that they have. But yeah, so we're gonna go ahead and do WandaVision, just because it's something I've already seen, some not recently, but like I remember most of it. At least I remember how I feel about it. Which show as like I feel like it's somehow, I heard from a lot of people that this is like their favorite show. It's like, and a lot of people I actually respect their like cinema opinions on. They like were telling me basically like this is one of their favorite shows of all time, and it's so good. And obviously on Rotten Tomatoes it got a 91%, which is pretty good. Especially this is their flagship show, their premiere show that they put out to start Disney Plus, the whole Marvel things. People were very skeptical of this. They put a ton of money in this. I think it was something around the same budget as Falcon and the Winter Soldier, which was around like 25 million an episode on average. But yeah, this one had 9 episodes though, versus that one had 6 episodes. You had some all-star casting though. You had Elizabeth Olsen. Well, not casting; these people are already in it, but it was cool to see them again. You had Elizabeth Olsen as Wanda. You had Paul Bettany as Vision. You had Catherine Hahn as Agatha Harkness. And you have obviously quite a few more. You have Evan Peters as Ralph Boner, but yeah. So, and also I did like that they brought back some people like Randall Park, who's he's Wu, from Ant-Man. He's the FBI guy. So they brought him back in this, and he gets to work with Darcy Lewis, who's Kat Dennings. So that was cool pairing and everything like that. I guess overall I liked a lot of the characters that they had. I will say this show definitely endeared me towards Wanda and like what she went through, and I do like the route that they're taking her of someone like an anti-hero, I guess, someone like a Deadpool character, and I mean we saw this in like, I recently watched Infinity War and Endgame. She basically, like, if you look in Infinity War, she basically rips someone in half with ease. She almost defeats Thanos single-handedly in Endgame. That's not prime Thanos, to be fair, but that is 2014 version of Thanos. So yeah, she almost defeats him like single-handedly. The show, I mean, my opinion of it, I only really liked 3 episodes, like, if I'm being honest. Like, I didn't like the finale at all. The thing with Vision was kind of cool, where they had like how that fight was resolved, because they were basically 2 invincible beings like trying to fight each other. Not invincible because they're dead, but you know what I mean. But yeah, the 3 episodes I did like was episode 4, We Interrupt This Programming, episode 7, which is Breaking the Fourth Wall, and episode 8, which is Previously On. Those are the 3 episodes I liked. The ending of episode 3 was pretty cool, where you have Monica Rambeau kind of get sent back, and then you kind of see some of what's going on, and you get more of that sinister side of Wanda kind of, I guess, like showing up in the kind of ending of that episode. But yeah, so I think overall it was a good show to start out with because it intrigued a lot of people. I think if they started out with Falcon and the Winter Soldier, it would have been, okay, this is going to be same old Marvel type stuff. I mean, we'll get into Falcon and Winter Soldier review later, but at least on this show, I think it perfectly balanced surrealism and nostalgia, and kind of used both of those together to pioneer this kind of new show. Because I think the reason why this show was perceived so high, or rated so highly, is because it was something different from the typical like Marvel formula that we've seen, and because it is also their first TV show, and people weren't expecting, I guess, that much. Especially with this story, it sounds like it's somewhat lesser known. Like, it's still a big part of the MCU, and since I've watched this, I've read up on this. Like, I haven't read the comics, but I've read like descriptions. Seems like it's a pretty important part of the MCU, and what it really seems like is that they're gonna use this to bring mutants in, because I think that's what Monica is now. She's a mutant with the powers that she got, which was pretty cool powers, to be fair. But like the first episode, I thought the ending was all right, but I didn't really like it. I understand that they're dialing people in though, so it's like I don't want to. I usually watch at least a few episodes of a show to like actually test it, and this was Marvel. I was gonna watch it anyway. I'm a big Marvel fan. Yeah, but it's kind of unfortunate, at least for me, because I only actually enjoyed 3 of the episodes here. but I can respect some of the surrealist elements that they were putting into this. But yeah, so with that in mind, we'll just go through real quick. I did actually really like what I did like about the first two episodes is that they were in black and white, and they, if you actually look at like the editing team on this, or the post production team, whoever did this is like and the storyboarding team, whoever came up with the idea, and the post production team who actually edited this did phenomenal jobs. I think the biggest props of this show have to go to the cast and crew, or not the cast, the crew that was like doing all this, because how they if you look at if you watch it on Disney Plus, because I watch it on just on my laptop, if you watch it on Disney Plus, they like change the screen sizing. I forget exactly what the term is, but like, you know, the black bars on like the side of the screen from like older TV shows, like they have that in early on, and then they change the sizing when it goes to now in color. It like changes to be a bigger sizing, and then when it goes to like the actual world outside, it changes again, and it just kind of keeps going back and forth. And yeah, it was pretty cool. Her getting the children was, I know it's a thing from the comics, but her getting the children was a bit odd. I didn't quite understand it. I guess one of my biggest complaints here, even though I liked that they kind of brought Wanda and Vision together and kind of gave you a little more dynamic, because honestly, I really disliked the Wanda character. I didn't like the Vision character. It just, neither of them made sense to me. Neither of them were charismatic to me. I don't know. I wasn't really a fan of them. I did recently watch Civil War, and you know, Wanda in that is actually all right. She's not a standout character or anything, but she's all right. My biggest thing with this show though is that I like what they introduce in it. It's a great way to start Phase 4, because I believe this is the first thing that's come out in Phase 4. And it's a great way to start that out, and it shows you that they're really going in a different direction, because you had the Spider-Man Far From Home, which you had that one kind of playing with this like multi-dimensional like theory, and then they're like, oh, it's a joke, we're not actually going that route. And then when you come into this show, they're like, actually, we are going in that route. We joked with you on the joke, which was the joke, so now we're going in that direction. So it looks like Phase 4 is going to be headed towards more of this surrealist, like Nexus event, multi-dimensional stuff. And that's, I wasn't a big fan of Doctor Strange when I first watched it. I'm going to watch it again and give maybe a different opinion here, but I wasn't a big fan of it. And maybe because it was overhyped, and then I watch it, I'm like, it's alright. But I am really looking forward to the Multiverse of Madness, because especially after Endgame, and then seeing that these guys are going to be in there, and now I know Loki's going to be in that too. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to Multiverse of Madness. Not as much as Eternals though, mainly because I got my Game of Thrones guys in there. So, you know. But yeah, I think overall the show was pretty good. I think the standout episode was probably episode 8. For me at least, just because that's the episode where we really went into her character. Like, we really like delved deep in there, and it explains so much about her character and her connection with Vision, because they're both connected through the Mind Stone anyway. Yeah, I think it's Mind Stone. They're both connected through the Mind Stone anyway, where it's like she was essentially, her powers were sparked by the Mind Stone. Like, she already had them dormant in her, but the Mind Stone like kind of sparked that for her. And then Vision was like his not his being, but his like powers, a lot of them come from the Mind Stone. And so it's like two peas in a pod, so you can understand how they get along. And like, it makes me actually, their relationship to me now, I don't look at Vision as just a robot, which is why I'm like, why is she like, you know, screwing with the robot like when they were in the hotel and everything. But now I see it more as like, okay, this is like someone that, Vision is like a sentient being. Is actually someone that developed. Oh, that's another thing with this. The villain of that, like the director of Sword, the villain was all right. Like, his character was all right. That I did not like the finale at all. Like the 9th episode, and his ending was just so weird. Like, it was very off. He just like came in with a truck and tried to kill a couple kids, and then this lady in an ice cream truck just hit him out of nowhere. And I'm like, what is, and then he gets arrested. I'm like, I don't know if that's actually how this would play out, even if he did break laws. He's the director of like Sword. Like, you're telling me if someone was going to arrest Nicholas J. Fury, you're telling me that Fury would just stand by and let them arrest him? No, I don't think so. So that's one thing, because this is basically the reincarnation of Shield, and now it's called Sword, and this is also a comics thing. So it is pretty interesting though. That villain was alright. It wasn't. I think more the villain here was Wanda. She was more the protagonist and the antagonist, and so that kind of outside interference, I guess it gave someone like a thing to fight against, but I think the show would have been better, honestly, if they didn't have that, and just had it like it was just Wanda fighting against herself, basically. And actually, Agnes in there would have been good. Her motivations to me were somewhat odd. I guess just more power for the sake of power. So just in that sense, traditional Marvel stuff. So I guess you got to throw that in there for the fans. But it's just power for the sake of power is what it sounds like. I want to learn a lot more about that character. That's actually one thing, because now after Wanda like imprisoned her forever in the hex and everything, in her own personal hex, I was like, oh, that's honestly a villainous thing to do, like how she like imprisoned her. And yeah, so that's why for Wanda, for me now, is like really embodies that anti-hero sentiment now, and even like borderline villainous with a lot of the stuff that she did here. So yeah, and they do touch on that, credit to them, but it makes her a more complex character than just the like Sokovian girl who got like experimented on by Hydra and then is part of the Avengers because her brother died to like a couple bullets, even though he can push Hawkeye out of the way and still run. So anyway, the Evan Peters thing was like, I guess, a cool cameo, but the biggest thing on this, if you were like following what people were saying online, like what the cast and everything were saying online, it was just kind of like a screw you to the fans. They were like, oh, more stuff's coming out, like keep watching and blah blah blah, like, and I'm like sitting there, I'm like, okay, cool, like, so Evan Peters is going to be like a mutant or something like that, like he was going to be sent in and now he's mutated and blah blah blah, but no, he's just some dude named Ralph Boner. So literally his whole character was just for a boner joke, and I'm like, okay, cool. Well, yeah, I think, again, overall, wasn't a big fan of the show, which I know I'm saying like positive stuff about it because I want to highlight the good stuff that they did, because there was obviously a lot of time and effort put into this by the cast and the crew and everyone, and I'm always going to respect that. They tried something very different and unique. I will say, I think as the flagship show for Disney Plus and for Phase 4, it was a perfect start because it shows you going in that new and experimental direction. So it keeps that interest in Marvel. It keeps it there, because that's one of the big things. Is like with Star Wars, like people were starting to get burned out of Star Wars. We were getting so much Marvel content. We're gonna get, I think it's something like 2 movies this year. We're getting 5 TV shows this year alone, or 4 TV shows this year alone, and maybe that Miss Marvel series if it comes out. But it's like we're getting so much stuff. We're being inundated with all this like Marvel content, and I think this show kind of showed you it's not going to be the same old. It's going to be something new and exciting, and you should watch it all because it's all going to be interesting and unique. And so yeah, we're obviously going to review them as they go. We've got the Loki reviews. I'm going to be reviewing the season of Falcon and Winter Soldier, which I'll talk about more in that review, obviously. And then we have this review, and we're going to be continuing and getting to the movies as well. So yeah, that's really all I got to say for this, guys. Hope you enjoy this. We're going to be doing kind of Marvel stuff. I'm going to try to do it every Monday. Schedule might shift a bit as I go into like the school year and everything, so we might do only 2 videos a week instead of the 3 that I'm currently doing. But I'm going to try to do Marvel Mondays, so I'm going to do the reviews for the shows. I'm going to try to start with Iron Man and go down. Let me know if you want it in chronological order, or if you would prefer them in just like how they were released. But yeah, have a good one, guys.